Britta Marakatt-Labba is a Sámi textile artist, painter, and graphic artist. She studied at HDK Academy of Design and Crafts, University of Gothenburg, in 74 to 78, and she joined the Sámi artist group MASA in 1978 and was involved in creating the Sámi Artists Union founded in 1979. During her 4 decades as an active artist, she has held approximately 35 solo exhibitions, most recently at Kotta Art Gallery, Helsinki, Finland, Lunds Konsthall, Sweden, Konsthall Histhult, Sweden. She has participated in at least 40 national and international group shows, among other City Biennial in Quebec, Canada, which I think is currently on display, Historia at Queen Sonia's Art Stable, which is also currently on display, Let the River Flow in Tensta Konsthall, which is also currently on display, I think. So there's a lot of possibilities to see Britta's work right now. And in the Needle, the Haystack to Fred, the Arts Club Chicago in last years. And yeah, there's numbers of, I'm not going to read them all, of exhibition that she has participated in. And and as I mentioned, her work, Historia, is currently at the Queen's Art Stable, and with this work tells the story and the mythology of the Sámi people. And Marakatt-Labba has also received several awards and honors, among others an honorary PhD from the Department of Philosophy at the University of Umeå in Sweden, the John Savio Award, and Illis Quaremeruere Labor and the Culture Award. So it's nice to have you with us today, Britta Marakatt-Labba, and please take the floor.
Kiito huijolla, atin lep poudemu taas seminaariin. Ja mo teostulon tällä lokalla nämä englanskilli, tänenko mä jahkan huollo stappi merti saame kielä. And thank you for inviting me to this seminar. And I think that I'm going to hold this on English because I really don't think there's so many in this audience who are understanding Sámi. Are there some? Maybe. I see one instance. I live and work in Övre Soppero, located in Kiruna Rural District. But in our family, we do work with reindeer husbandry. But my main pursuit is to work with images, using embroidery as expressive vehicle, narrative embroidery. The images I create come out of direct process. That is to say that I have no finished sketches for my smaller images. Hör du? Jag får byta då. When I stretch the linen canvas on the wall, my thought process begins. I usually try out my other ideas in small cutouts made on Weckel paper. Later on, I taste the placement of these figures by working directly on the fabric. I build the composition by moving around the various shapes. For a long time, it was difficult for me to produce a final sketch. I often wondered why I opted not to work with preparatory drawings until I realized that this is my Sámi tradition, my heritage. When I work with the Dodgy way, the materials show me what to do and how the final work should be shaped and finished. For instance, if I'm making a traditional Sámi tunic, the body and proportions of the person show me how I should cut the garment pieces by working directly with a cloth without a paper pattern. My images come into being the same way, growing directly from the cloth. I know how I envision the image, but the client to order the artwork has no idea of the final outcome. Presenting a sketch is required for larger commissions. I think that no one wants to buy the pig in the poke. I realized that if I prepared my sketches in collage technique, everything worked well. This was the closest I could come to textile material. The feeling I get from making collage is similar to working directly with actual textiles. This approach also fixes other issues. And today I'm capable of presenting a sketching collage. Or in other way to work, even with watercolor and pencil. I dye all my fabrics and yarns myself, except linen yarns and threads are available for purchase in amazingly great range of colors. Many other snags must be resolved before an image can consider it finished. Alone in my studio in Övre Soppero, I have no access to other eyes or feedback for image that I'm working on. I need kindly trust my own judgment and myself. In the textile medium, is the textile medium too fragile and demanding to work with as an art form? Yes, it is, and it is particularly so with embroidery. During my 30 years at this art, I have at times worked against the wind, and I have felt that it has been a difficult transition from traditional Sámi dodgy to working with images. I thought for a long time that this would be not so hard to make one's way with a textile focus and above all with narrative embroidery, since my heritage was dodgy. Those around me did not understand what I was doing, but I believed in the medium that I had chosen and that someday this way of working would bear fruit. My decision had to do with my desire to make my images convey Sámi culture, everyday Sámi life and political events. Today it is important to bring attention to the global warming we are all encountering, except in the Arctic regions where the climate change is noticed most strongly. The windows opening outward for me and as an artist with Sámi background is to bring awareness to the viewer about Sámi as a national group. I think of it as a picking out keys, and as it were so many different doors turning such a key and make the viewer enter unfamiliar rooms by relating events in society and tell the story of the Sámi community. My participation at Documenta 14 in Kassel was the turning point. It opened doors worldwide And I, as Sámi artist, had the opportunity to make many persons in the art world aware of us and about my art. We are facing enormous challenges. Opposing mining for minerals, against expansion of dams on rivers, and preventing climate change. It's a long way from Sapporo to Sapporo. I was in Sapporo last year, and to travel between different places takes, of course, a lot of from one's, it takes a lot of time and everything like that, except like traveling from Sapporo to Oslo. It's also very, it's a long trip, long journey. Somehow, when we do meet other human beings, then we of course have a lot of prejudice against one another. And it's the same with us Sámi also. When we met tourists up in the mountain, we often thought, why on earth have they such clothes on? And why do they have their package with a lot of things hanging outside? That's the prejudice against other people. And the tourists also think about us as Sámi, how in earth do they have these sort of shoes and these sort of clothes and, all these things. Sámi culture wrapped up, stamped, and sent away, sent out in the world. And now when I stand here, then I put on another mask. Then I put on my lecture mask. And tomorrow maybe I have a mask of exhibition opening mask. So that's also things that we change masks all the time. Railway wagons for transport of iron ore. In this case, we are filled with run into bodies of reindeer. Instead of minerals in the wagons, there are rain bodies, because between, if you have been driving with train on between Kiruna and Narvik, then you can see a lot of reindeer bodies behind the tracks, or near to the tracks, because there's a lot of reindeer dying in this way, because there are tracks and there are ways all around the Sápmi. Prospecting, boreholes left on our lands by foreign companies after drilling for rare minerals. And this is a embroidery make that on the left side. On the right side, we still do have green forest, and then when you move a little bit in this, then you have this all of these boreholes and such stuff what they have left behind, those foreign companies. I was talking about to make sketches and how to learn to sketch and my Sámi heritage, because this was the absolutely first way I make my sketch in this collage technique. And this was the final result from that work. And then we are here at the 24-meter history. That's the enormous embroidery. It took me 5 years to produce this. And for every simple meter I make, and then I had a party, because so I really did have party for 24 times. But I'm not going to tell you how the party, what I put in the party. This is from detail from the history, our ancestral mothers in their red-horned headdresses. forbidden when the Christianity was introduced into Sámi, because the priest said that nobody can wear a headdress with a horn. It was a devil's work. Starlit Sky, this is hanging at the Sámi school in Tromsø. This commission is made in 4 or 5 pieces. So this is one of those pieces about the star word, Sámi star word. It's real wide to tell about the Sámi mythology. So if I was going to take all those bits, it would take me many, many hours to tell you about this. And to tell it in a foreign language as English is, for me, it's not the easiest way to do. So, okay. So I just show you some images, and you can just look for those, and everybody put their own words in the image. But I can tell you that after the Utøya happening, I made first installation about old sex from the Second World War, and then I continued to work with this. I was thinking a lot of roots when young people, suddenly the roots were cut from these young people, and what happened with their families, and how do they feel today? There was a lot of thoughts coming up, and I was thinking a lot of those people who lost those parents, brothers and sisters who lost their young sisters and brothers. This is an art piece I call for You Went. It's also, you know, when I was a child, I lost my father in a car accident in the New York Christmas Eve, 56. And in those days, you never talked about when somebody was passed away. So when I was adult, I started to work with art pieces that I put my thoughts that I had as a child, and made several pieces about my father when he passed, them all thoughts. So this was my way to work with those bad feelings I really had from the childhood. Mm-hmm. When I started to work with these embroideries in 79, my stitches was really very, did use a lot of stitches, but after a while, when the years have gone, then I also put in a lot of applications, and nowadays I also work with by painting on the linen, directly on the linen. So of course I have changed my way to work from that when I started for 30 years ago, and today it works. I was born in one tipi, Labba, at the moment from Målselv municipality, because we do live every summer at the Målselv, in the Troms area. And I was born during one autumn moment in one tipi, but this is peat tipi. This we used in the winter time. And last I lived in this such a tip was 74 actually. And this way is a labwa. It's a tipi we use up in the mountain. It's a little bit smaller, and it's my brother who's preparing the tipi. And I often use also these round shapes because I'm thinking a lot about the round circle, because in the Sámi way to make yoik is also that you don't have any beginning. Of course you have a beginning, but you don't have any end in this storytelling. And also in my embroideries I want to tell about with this round shape, that everything is going round. Even if I'm passed away, maybe I have left something behind me. If I have children, or if I have made something, especially in this life, I left something behind me. I often put political context in my embroidery because I was grown up with this storytellings, and of course many ways we put in political happens in some maybe birds or animals or this was a new way for me to work. I made this for, I think it is, let's see what year it is. It was really a slowly way to work with textiles, because if you see this, everything is put up in knutar, what is it on English, knots. So, and this is application under those pieces. So, who knows, maybe I continue to work in this way, but today I have only made one of this sort of piece. This is the shape from the Sámi drum. It's the symbol of the sun, and the sun in Sámi culture is the queen of the heaven. So if you look at the Sámi mythology and religion, we do only have female goddesses. So we have these three goddesses: is the door, hunting, and that one who gives birth, and also the urmodern, the mother of Virgin, I think. But I have chosen to put my own symbol in this drum shape. So I put embroideries in instead of these traditional or these symbols that drums have. And this is also detail from history, virgin forest, with the souls of ancestral mothers peering out between the birch trees. The Sámi skulls, adapted from Sámi, the measuring of Sámi persons for race biological research. And today, our Sámi is talking that we really want to get back those skulls who was taken away from Sámi graves. Detail from one embroidery. This is also after that what happens in Russia when this happened in, I've forgotten the name now. Maybe it will come later. This was also one embroidery I put in other context in with this, with the Maria and Joseph and the Christmas Eve when they are moving. And instead of Hazel, they had a reindeer. And instead of giving birth to one son, they gave birth to one daughter. So, detail from 24-meter embroidery. I do also work a lot of images with climate change. I'm thinking a lot of climate change because today it's very scaring. I can see that when my family are working with reindeer and they cannot move on those tracks they moved before because nowadays the ices are so weak. So for some years ago there was the ice was broken and many hundred reindeers went through the ice. So we do really have big challenges today. The water is going up and what's happening with the ice bears in the north. And this is the icon because the crows describes the dam project at the Alta River and how Norwegian state police were sent to Alta to disperse the protesters. In Sámi mythology, different bird and animals species have been put into a political context. When the powerful have turned out another's eyes by force and bits of food are thrown out, peace and quiet is guaranteed for a while. Crows are scavenger birds and they clean up everything coming their way. And that was what I saw when I was in Alta at that time. And also that in the Sámi culture we do have this helping, hjälpandar, helping, what to translate it to? Hjälpandar? I don't know how to translate it. Hjälpandar, those who are helping you if you need help. Yeah. And then I show you a little about this from the Utøya. This happened 2011. And I found this meal sacks from my mother-in-law's collection because she collected everything, and I'm grateful for that she didn't really throw away things. So I got this sacks from her. Detail from the embroidery with the Utøya. And you can really see this emblem from the German with those hakkorset. And then I also put in other things also. Embroidered them because he shot a lot. He did have many guns with, and the balls was going. There's a lot of shooting, so I put from the iron wings was guns, became two guns here. Mm. Yeah, and that was the last picture.
Thank you, Britta. That was quite an amazing presentation. Very, very many interesting works and very nicely done. Is there any questions for Britta?
You can ask on Norwegian. I think it's easier for me to answer if there is any questions. But often is that if when you look at photos from images, one photo tells more than 1,000 words. Mm. Kiitos huijollo. Thank you so much.
Did you have a question?
Sorry, I did have a question. I was just wondering, because I think it's really great that in the past years we've seen so much more of Sámi art and your works at Documenta. It's really great. And then, but a lot of, if you're talking about climate change and and you see it all over the world that listening to the people that actually live with nature, it's not happening. And I'm wondering if anything changed politically during that attention that you got in Documenta, or working with the Nussir mine, like demonstrating towards that, and has it changed?
What shall I say? Because we started to demonstrate in Alta in the beginning of 80s. Of course, maybe there have been changed for small steps, but it's really small steps because at that time we didn't think about climate changing. So we have a big challenge now to demonstrate against this climate changing, and also these big companies who are coming to our areas, and they are digging all the time and searching for more minerals. So we really do have big challenge. So many of our young artists, they are really working with powerful pictures, but my way is to work in another way. But I think that through the art we can make a lot of changes. And I think that when we started in 79, everything started then, and then we have then as these changes come and more politicals have been, they know much more today and what they did for at 79, 80. So I've been working with culture politics since that, and it was not so easy to come to the Swedish government at that time. But then I went there nearly 10 years later, and it was a turning. They have turned, but I think because they went in the European unions that they have to take and work with these issues also. But changes, there's not so big changes. We have to get more bigger changes if we will survive as culture, as people, and also these all things who are around in the nature. With the scientist says that in 60 years we don't have any reindeers left, and that's scaring, really scaring. And when that culture disperses, it's that we lose a lot of other things also. We lose a lot of materials for the dwedje, and we lose a lot of terminology in the Sámi language, because we do have a lot of words, for instances, for weather and wind and snow and all such things. So it's like that you throw a stone in the water, there's a lot of rings happening. So.
Is there any more questions? If not, I think we'll say thank you to Britta, and we'll be back here after lunch at 12:30.